Hey, it's me, Hannah. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear, hey, it's me, Hannah? Some of you guys may think, oh my gosh, it's the new show, 13 Reasons Why. I love that show. Or other of you guys may think, it's 13 Reasons Why. I don't like that show. Or maybe you think, who's Hannah? But today I want to talk to you about the new Netflix original, well, not Netflix original, the new Netflix series that came out, 13 Reasons Why. And some of you guys may have read the book or may have watched the show or neither. So I'm going to tell you why 13 Reasons Why is a big yes. So before we get started, I'm going to show you a little quick promo about what 13 Reasons Why is.
Hey, it's Hannah. Hannah Baker. I'm about to tell you the story of my life. More specifically, why my life ended.
If one thing had gone differently somewhere along the line, maybe none of this would happen.
People were starting to talk. I had to do something.
Whatever Hannah thought she saw, she lied about it.
Maybe I'll never know why you did what you did. I can make you understand how it felt. If you want to know the truth, just press play.
So, 13 Reasons Why has gotten a lot of praise, just like it's gotten a lot of hate. So some of the tweets that I've seen going around social media, for example, one like this. So, unpopular opinion, Hannah Baker is overdramatic and selfish. She uses suicide as a tool for revenge. Hashtag 13 Reasons Why sucks. Or this other one that I saw that says Netflix, hashtag 13 Reasons Why depicts suicide and sexual abuse in a graphic way. Is that necessary? Also, even some from our peers here at school by Olivia Cooper. The book is seriously so much better because it's not so extra. It's straight to the point without all the other sob stories. And lastly, 13 Reasons Why is extremely fake deep. Whoops, shoot me. So these are some of the stuff that I've been seeing on social media and on Twitter and on Facebook and all these things about why they don't think 13 Reasons Why is a good show. I know some people have said that the way that they show suicide or the way that they show Hannah shows her in a way where she's trying to get revenge or where she's the bad guy and teenagers are going to want to commit suicide. This is going to raise suicide and that people should not be watching this show. But like I said, I want to talk to you guys about why I think 13 Reasons Why is a show that obviously if you have the appropriate age, you should be watching. So my 3 reasons why, yes, I think 13 Reasons Why is a good show. The first one is dealing with bullying and mental illness. This show not only has crazy, amazing videography, like I admire it so much, but the way that it deals with bullying and mental illness, it deals with it in such a way that we're able to understand it from a different perspective from what we've always seen it. Another reason is the way that it deals with the ugliness. We know there's so much ugliness in this world, and this show just kind of brings to light that ugliness that sometimes we hide or sometimes we shy away with. And lastly, the way that it deals with reality and everyday life. How does this show connect to who we are? We watch so many shows, Grey's Anatomy, Shameless, and all these shows, but how do those shows connect to reality and everyday life? So this show does a really great job of that. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is about how it deals with bullying. So according to StopBullying.gov, bullying is defined as unwanted aggressive behavior amongst school-age children that involves a real or perceived power of imbalance. So how does this show deal with bullying? How does this show deal with that definition that we just talked about? So as the show starts off, Hannah Baker, she's new to this town. She needs friends. She wants friends. And she goes into high school. And as she goes there, she meets that cute, popular guy that everyone is talking about. And she likes him and he likes her. So they go to the park. And in a weirdly angled picture he takes of her gets spread around. So as she's going down the stride, he takes a picture of her and it's a weird angle. And his friend Bryce sends that picture around to the whole school. And that is a form of bullying, which is called cyberbullying. And I feel like we deal with this in the high school and even middle school a lot because you can't tell me you've never seen an Instagram purge page, you've never seen a Facebook purge page. Those have been seen, those have gone around. If you don't know what that is, a purge page on Facebook or Instagram is when someone makes an account and you send pictures privately of other people that are obviously inappropriate, or we can say that are nudes, and we send those out and they get published. So this is kind of maybe even more of a mild way of what happened to Hannah. So I think about bullying and the way that her reputation was ruined kind of when you look at this piece of paper. And this piece of paper, it's a pretty nice paper. And if I were to crumble it up, would I be able to make it how it was again? You wouldn't be able to fix this piece of paper and make it straight like it was again. So Hannah went through this bullying, and when her reputation was ruined, when her reputation was crumbled, you can't put it back. And I think that's something that we don't realize. When you say a rumor about someone, and when you spread a rumor about someone, you can't take that back. People are going to hear it, and the person is never going to be able to get their paper back to the way it was. And I think that's such a big, important lesson that 13 Reasons Why shows. It shows that the second that picture was sent around the school, Hannah's life began to kind of snowball. And all the rest of the snowball effects that we'll see later on and what else happened with her life. So the way that this show deals with bullying. The next thing is the way that it deals with mental illness. One thing that I just want you guys to remember, because so many people who don't like this show say this, well, Hannah people are going to want to act like Hannah. People are going to want to get that revenge like Hannah. Or maybe Hannah didn't have a mental illness. She was just selfish in the way and the things that she did. But I want you to remember that Hannah isn't always the good guy. Hannah isn't supposed to be the good guy of this show. She isn't supposed to be the person that you look up to in this show. And sometimes people get that so confused because she's going through this depression. She's going through this mental illness, we can say. And sometimes she doesn't even realize the things that she says or the things that she does or the way that she acts. So Hannah isn't always a good guy. Another thing is everyone deals with mental illness differently. A lot of people who suffer from mental illness are speaking out and saying, well, this show doesn't show or portray mental illness how it is. But one thing that we have to remember is that not everybody suffers with it the same way. We were all made so unique and creative. How do we expect us to go through the thing the same way? And this is just Hannah's story. It's not everyone's story. Another thing is missing the signs of mental illness as it happens. So sometimes we think that there's like a type for like people who are depressed. But this goes to show that we can miss those signs. Some of those signs of mental illness, according to Dr. Park, is difficulty concentrating or sleepiness or feeling guilt or hopelessness. And although in the show we see Hannah's signs because, it's her perspective, for the most part, other people might not see that. And signs are missed. Another statistic that I want to share with you guys is that 80% of teenagers who suffer mental illness, they go untreated, according to Dr. Caroline, in an article by Mental Health. They go untreated. So these kids, a lot of them, they don't know what they're going through. They don't understand these feelings that they go through. And sometimes I know we don't understand the feelings that we're going through as we're changing and as we're growing up. The next point I want to talk about is dealing with the ugliness. Like I said, there's so much ugliness in this world, and there's so much of it to go around. But some things that I admire, not just the videography and the cinematic point of the show, but the profanity in the show. And I mean, if you know me, you know that's not something that I always admire. But if you go into a high school, I promise you it's going to sound like that or worse, just like it did in the show. And I think the detail that the script had with every swear word or every cuss word that it had, I think it was there for a purpose. It was there because it made it more real. It made it feel just like it does in high school, the profanity in the show. So that's one thing that I admire. Another thing is the aftermath of the traumas. I admire how Hannah went through the things that she went through, not just Hannah, but the other characters, and the aftermath of her trauma. So in one of the scenes after Hannah was sexually assaulted, according to Dr. Hughes from Stanford University, rape victims or rape survivors do three things. They fight, they freeze, or they run away. And we see kind of the ugliness of what Hannah goes through, because sometimes we think, if I were in that situation, I would run, I would not let him, I would not let her touch me. But we wouldn't know what it feels like until we actually go through it. And in this case, Hannah froze. When she was being assaulted, she froze. She didn't know what to do. And that kind of shows like the ugliness of what it's like to go through that. And that kind of ties into the other thing I admire, which is a rape and suicide scene. And you might think, wow, it's overly graphic. Teenagers shouldn't be watching this because they're going to want to mimic Hannah. But I think that the detail that was put into these scenes, and the thought that was put into it was amazing, if I could say that. So the executive producer, Brian York, he said that just reading the script at the table was immensely hard. Like, it was hard to read what's on paper. So imagine what it was for the actors having to go through that. And in another interview with Catherine Langford, who plays Hannah, she said that one of her close family members called her up and said, what, I'm glad that you're not shying away from this ugliness. I'm glad that you're bringing to light what these people go through. And if you watched the show, if you finished it, you know that especially in the sexual assault scene and in the suicide scene, we see a lot of Hannah's face. We see the emotion that's running through her face. And the director said, we wanted to put it in her face for an awkward amount of time. We wanted it to be awkward, and we wanted it to be painful to watch, so that we can give tribute to those people who have actually been through those things and that go through those things. And lastly, I want to talk about reality. So reality is that there is no type. I know I talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but Bryce is one of the main characters. He's the captain of the football team, and he's a very popular and maybe even nice, if we don't know him personally, guy. And Bryce is the one that committed that sexual assault to Hannah and a couple other girls in the show. And we think that there's a type. We think that there's a type to the people who are depressed. We stereotype the people who can commit suicide or can't commit suicide. And I know when it's happened in the past, we think, oh man, I would have never thought that was coming. I would have never seen that coming. And that's because reality is there is no type. There is no type to the person who's depressed. There's no type to the person who's going to get raped. There's no type to the person who's going to commit suicide. And I think this show portrays that very drastically. And it shows, hey, you don't know what person. There is no type. And then it can be too late. I know people say it can never be too late. But in this case, it was too late. If you look at this picture, I put that in for a reason. And Alex, one of the characters, is holding a poster that says suicide is not an option. And that poster was put up after Hannah committed suicide. And it can be too late. And I think that's the reason why this show, in a way, was brought to life. This book was brought to life. Another thing is, some people are never sorry. Here's another picture. This is one of the main characters, if you know about the show. Her name is Courtney. And she is one of the reasons why Hannah committed suicide, or said to in the tape. And she was never sorry for what she did. I mean, I can't say she was never sorry, didn't feel remorse. But overall, throughout the show, all she did was trying to hide what she did. And I feel like the emotion that she showed, she didn't show any remorse. And although she might feel sad that Hannah was dead, I feel like some people are just never sorry for what they do. They're not sorry that they bullied a person. They're not sorry that they raped someone. They're not sorry for what they do. And lastly, there is no turning back. Once something's done, it's done. And I think that's something that kind of kills Clay, who is the actual main character of the show, who listens to all the tapes. And up here in the picture it says, you can't love someone back to life. There is no turning back. Once you break that plate, once you crumble that paper, there's no turning back. And that's something that people are going to have to live with. And I think that this show does a really great job of showing us that although there wasn't any turning back for them, there can be turning back for us. And people say, oh, this show just ends so bad and it doesn't show any hope. But I think it shows a lot of hope. I think that through those points, we can see that there is turning back. We can see that dealing with bullying and mental illness, that we can go to help, or that there is people who can care. We can see that even though things are ugly, that we can make that better. We see that reality in everyday life, reality is reality because it happens. But we can change that reality. We can change the world around us, and we can make that better through this. So overall, I just think that 13 Reasons Why is a show that obviously if you have the age, I'm not going to say a little elementary school kid should watch it, but obviously if you have the age, watch it with your parents, watch it with your guardian, sibling, someone who's older. If parents are saying, well, my kid shouldn't be watching that alone, well, watch it and discuss with them what's going on. How do they feel when Hannah does this? How do they feel when Bryce does this? How do they feel when this happens? And if you're still saying, nah, 13 Reasons Why is not a show that I want to watch, or, it's not a good show, although you may not need a show to know to be nice to people, some people do. Some people need that reminder that you should be nice to people, and you never know what's going on in a person's life. So next time you see that welcome to your tape meme or on Facebook or on Twitter, just remember that there's a story behind the welcome to your tape. There's a story behind, hey, it's Hannah Baker. So that's 13 Reasons Why, and it's a huge yes.
Thank you. I didn't see that.